You know that feeling when you walk into a room and forget why you even went there? Or when you're trying to remember something important, but your mind just blanks out? It's frustrating, right? Well, here's the truth most people won't tell you. The way we've been taught to improve our memory is all wrong. Forget the expensive courses, the fancy brain games. What if I told you that boosting your memory could actually be simpler than you think? In fact, you might already have the tools you need, you just haven't been using them correctly. Stick around, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you game-changing, real-life techniques that you can apply today. Trust me, this isn't your typical memory trick. This is about taking control of your brain and mastering the art of remembering. Ready to stop struggling and start thriving? Let's dive in. Number 1. The power of forgetting. Delete the clutter. You've probably heard a lot about memory techniques, how to store more, remember better, be quicker on your feet. But what if I told you that the key to improving your memory could actually be forgetting? Yes, you heard that right. Now, before you roll your eyes or say, "That's a load of nonsense," just hear me out for a second. I know it sounds a bit counterintuitive, but trust me, deleting the clutter in your mind could be the very thing that helps you remember more. Now let's take a moment and think about our everyday lives. You know those moments when you're staring at your phone, trying to remember where you put your keys, or when you need to focus, but your mind keeps drifting to a million different things. We've all been there. It's like there's too much going on in your head, and no matter how hard you try, your brain feels like it's carrying way too much weight. Ever tried cramming for an exam, or trying to memorize something important only to feel overwhelmed by everything else buzzing around? Yeah, that's the clutter. And the worst part, it's actively keeping you from focusing on what truly matters. But what if the solution to memory improvement isn't adding more to your brain, but actually letting go of all the irrelevant stuff? Imagine if you could just erase the things you don't need. Seems a bit crazy, right? But here's the twist. The brain works like a hard drive, and too much information, especially the unimportant, cluttered stuff, can slow everything down. It's like having a bunch of tabs open on your computer, and each one is draining resources. When you consciously forget or disregard the things that don't serve you, your brain gets to use that valuable space for the things you actually want to remember. Let me share something from my own life. I remember a few months ago, I was trying to memorize a new project I had to manage at work. Details, timelines, client preferences, and all sorts of data. It was a lot, and honestly, it felt like my brain was on the brink of a meltdown. But then I started to realize that I was stressing over every single tiny detail, like trying to remember the exact shade of a client's logo or where we left some old documents I never actually needed. So I decided to stop stressing about those things and instead let them go. It was a simple choice. Forget the noise, focus on the essentials. And guess what? My memory started improving. I could remember key facts, focus during meetings, and retain the important stuff without feeling drained by the overload. The more I practiced this, the clearer my mind became. This isn't just about simplifying your mental space, it's about taking control of your mind. When you let go of unnecessary information, you're actually freeing up your brain's capacity to remember what matters most. This is your mind reclaiming its power. This is about standing up and saying, "I'm not going to let my brain get bogged down by everything. I choose what stays, and I choose what goes." And the results are powerful. You'll find yourself not just remembering more, but actually feeling more present, more focused, and more in control of your life. You have the right to mentally declutter and reclaim your space. So, here's the final word on this. Don't be afraid to forget. Embrace the power of deleting the clutter in your mind. Your space, your peace, and your dignity are worth it. By consciously letting go, you're making room for the things that truly deserve your attention and your memory. Trust me, you've got this. Number 2, the midnight recall. Study like it's the end of the day. What if I told you the best time to study isn't the morning, and definitely not when you're feeling all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed? In fact, it's the exact opposite. Study at the end of the day. Yep, you heard that right. The midnight recall technique, studying late, right before you hit the pillow, might just be your secret weapon. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Isn't that when I'm supposed to be sleeping? How is this even possible? Trust me, stay with me here. This might sound crazy, but there's actually a method to this madness. We've all been there, trying to cram information during the day when distractions are endless. You know the type: emails piling up, people interrupting, your brain constantly shifting between tasks. It's hard to focus, and when you do get around to studying, your mind feels like it's already been drained by everything else going on. But what if I told you that when your brain's tired, that's when it's actually most open to making new connections? You see, research shows that the late hours, when you're winding down, can trigger a more effective memory consolidation process. Essentially, your brain is more likely to process and store information when you're about to sleep, because your mind is already transitioning into a state that's perfect for retaining what you've learned. Let me share something personal here. A while back, I was juggling a massive project at work, studying for a test, and still trying to be present in family life. My days were chaos. But I realized something important. By the time the evening rolled around, I wasn't productive anymore. I'd sit at my desk and nothing would stick. So I decided to give this midnight recall thing a shot. I stayed up later than usual and studied for a solid hour before bed. Nothing too intense, just focused and quiet. It was like my brain knew it was time to focus. The next morning, I woke up with a surprising sense of clarity. I didn't have to force myself to remember. The key details just stuck. It felt effortless, almost like my brain did all the heavy lifting while I slept. This isn't just about working harder. It's about using your brain's natural rhythm to your advantage. The midnight recall method takes advantage of something called sleep-dependent memory consolidation. Essentially, your brain sorts through the information you've learned during the day and locks it in while you're snoozing. So, instead of stressing over cramming during daylight hours, you're giving your mind a chance to catch up and do the work overnight. It's almost like hacking the system, letting your mind's natural processes work for you instead of against you. And here's the best part: it's empowering. This method isn't just about getting better at memorizing things. It's about reclaiming control over how you approach learning and personal growth. You're not running around in circles trying to fit it all in. Instead, you're trusting your brain to handle the load. This is about working smarter, not harder. This is about saying, I'm in control of how I learn, and I know how to use my time effectively. So, the next time you find yourself cramming during the day, remember, you don't have to fit it all in the 9-to-5 grind. Your space, your peace, and your mind are your own to manage. Let your brain do the work at night, when it's most receptive. Use the midnight recall method and wake up to a smarter, more empowered version of yourself. Your time, your energy, and your focus are worth this. Number 3. Memory workout. Deprive yourself of sleep, but strategically. What if I told you that one of the best ways to boost your memory isn't about getting more sleep, but about depriving yourself of it, just a little and strategically? Sounds insane, right? You're probably thinking, wait, aren't we all told to get 8 hours to function properly? Yes, absolutely. But hear me out. Sleep deprivation, when done right, can actually work wonders for your brain. I know this might sound a bit crazy, but trust me, this strategy is backed by science. You know the drill. You've got deadlines, tasks piling up, and somehow your brain feels like it's in a constant fog. You try to push through, but you keep forgetting things. Or worse, you don't even realize you've forgotten them until it's too late. We've all been there, working late at night, feeling like a zombie, and hoping that everything will stick. But what if, instead of forcing yourself to go to bed, you deliberately stay awake a little longer than usual, just for a short burst of focus? Now, I'm not saying pull an all-nighter every day, that would be disastrous, but strategically depriving yourself of a bit of sleep can actually sharpen your memory in the short term. Let's dive into the psychology behind this. When you're sleep-deprived, your brain enters a state where it's forced to work harder. It might sound like a nightmare, but that little push makes your brain more alert, and the stress can activate memory retention. Here's where it gets interesting. If you deny yourself a couple of hours of sleep before a major task, your brain is on high alert, processing and storing information faster than it normally would. It's almost like a muscle workout for your brain, forcing it to adapt and perform better. But, and this is key, don't overdo it. A little deprivation can trigger that boost, but too much can cause the exact opposite, leaving you completely drained and ineffective. I remember this one time at work when I had to prepare a presentation that was due early in the morning. I had all the content ready, but I couldn't quite remember the main points I wanted to hit. It was frustrating. I was tempted to crash early and hope everything would fall into place after a good night's sleep. But instead, I decided to stay up for another hour, reviewing my slides and mentally rehearsing. I was tired, sure, but something about that extra hour made everything snap into focus. The next day, I felt confident, sharp, and ready. I had just given my brain the chance to work a little harder under pressure. The lack of sleep wasn't hurting me. It was pushing me to make that last connection. This technique isn't about sabotaging your health or turning into a caffeine-dependent zombie. It's about using that moment of deprivation to train your brain. You're creating a bit of pressure, and your mind reacts by remembering better and processing information more quickly. You don't have to rely on traditional methods like cramming or excessive memorization. Sometimes a little bit of strategic sleep deprivation can give you the edge you need, especially when time is tight and you need to get that one last bit of focus. So here's the takeaway. This method isn't just about sleep. It's about taking control of your time and using your body's natural response to pressure in a way that works for you. It's about finding that sweet spot where a bit of sleep deprivation helps you perform better without going overboard. Your space, your peace, and your focus are yours to command. Don't be afraid to test this strategy next time you're feeling stuck or when you've got an important task on the horizon. After all, your mind is a muscle. Sometimes it just needs a little push to get in shape. Number 4, the memory-boosting diet. Eat the stuff they never told you about. What if I told you the secret to better memory isn't just about brain exercises or pulling all-nighters? It's what you're eating, or more importantly, not eating. I know. You've probably heard a million times that fish, nuts, and leafy greens are good for your brain. But there's a whole world of lesser-known, sometimes quirky foods that could be the game changer you've been missing. Yes, trust me on this. It's time to start eating smarter, not just more. We've all been there, trying to remember a name, a password, or a deadline, only to feel like your brain has hit the out of office button. It's frustrating. It's like your brain is just blank. And you probably think that the only fix is a fancy supplement or a special memory technique. But what if the real power lies in your fridge? The food you consume affects the clarity of your mind, your ability to focus and, wait for it, your actual memory. It's not some gimmick or quick fix, it's science. Your brain needs fuel, and sometimes the usual suspects just don't cut it. So here's the twist. There are certain foods that don't just fill your stomach, they directly impact your brain function, sometimes in ways we don't even realize. And no, I'm not talking about what you might already know, like blueberries or dark chocolate. I'm talking about the strange but true foods that might surprise you. Let's start with avocado. Yes, it's that creamy green fruit you probably throw on toast or throw into smoothies. But it's also packed with monounsaturated fats that boost blood flow to your brain, enhancing your memory. Then there's turmeric, the vibrant yellow spice that you've seen pop up in everything from lattes to curries. Turns out, turmeric contains curcumin, which has powerful anti-inflammatory effects that can protect brain cells from damage and improve memory. And then there's eggs, specifically the yolks. Packed with choline, eggs help produce acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter essential for memory and mood regulation. These foods might not be the first things you think of when you imagine a memory-boosting diet, but maybe they should be. Let me give you an example. A while ago, I was struggling with keeping up with my workload. Between editing videos, brainstorming ideas, and managing my schedule, my memory was feeling foggy, and I was forgetting simple tasks. That's when I started adding more brain-boosting foods into my diet. I didn't go on some crazy diet or force myself to eat things I didn't like. Instead, I started making small tweaks. I added turmeric to my morning smoothie, swapped out regular toast for avocado toast, and snacked on a handful of walnuts instead of chips. Honestly, I didn't expect much at first, but a few weeks in, I started noticing a difference. Tasks were becoming easier to juggle, I remembered things without struggling, and I felt more focused during my workday. My brain wasn't so scattered, and I could actually see the results in my day-to-day performance. This isn't about overcomplicating things or following some rigid eating plan. It's about making smarter food choices, and here's the empowering part. It's all in your control. You don't need to rely on gimmicks or expensive supplements to improve your memory. You just need to give your brain the right fuel. It's empowering to realize that making a few adjustments to your diet could be the game changer you've been looking for. It's about trusting your body and your mind to respond positively to what you feed it. You've got the power to enhance your focus, clarity, and memory just by what you choose to eat. So, let this be your reminder. Your memory, your focus, your clarity, they're all in your hands. Start fueling your brain with the good stuff and watch your mind perform at its best. Your space, your peace, and your mental strength all begin with a plate. Make every bite count and feed your brain like the powerhouse it is. Number 5, mind mapping your body. Use every part of you to remember. What if I told you the key to remembering things isn't just in your brain, but in your entire body? Sounds a bit out there, doesn't it? But hear me out. Your body is a massive resource for your memory, and it's time you start using it as a tool, not just your head. I know this sounds like one of those woo-woo self-help tips, but there's actual science behind it. Trust me on this. We're about to get physical with memory, in the best way possible. We've all been there, right? Struggling to remember a name, a date, or that one thing you swore you'd never forget. It's like your brain just hit the snooze button. So what do? You sit there thinking harder, trying to force the memory to come back. We've all tried to focus on that one thing for too long, and it only makes things worse. But what if I told you the solution could be as simple as moving your body? That's right. By engaging your whole self, not just your brain, you can improve your memory in a way you never imagined. Here's the deal. When you move your body, whether it's tapping your feet, stretching, or even walking, you're literally activating more areas of your brain. Movement is not just for fitness, it's like a booster shot for your mind. You see, your brain doesn't work in isolation. Every part of your body is connected to your brain. When you move your hands, walk around, or even make a gesture to explain something, You're helping your brain to focus, organize, and recall information more effectively. It's like creating a map where every part of your body marks a route to your memory. This is what mind mapping your body is all about. It's not just about writing down things in a notebook. It's about using your physical self to unlock mental clarity. Let me give you an example. A while ago, I had to remember a complex editing technique for a project at work. At first, I tried the usual, repeating the steps in my head over and over, but I kept hitting a wall. Then, I decided to get up and walk around my workspace, talking aloud to myself about the steps while mimicking the actions with my hands. It felt a little odd at first, but then something incredible happened. The steps just clicked. The movements, the gestures, they made my brain sync up in a way it never had before. That small act of moving my body not only helped me remember the technique, but it also boosted my creativity and focus for the rest of the project. This strategy isn't just about memorizing a technique or fact. It's about unlocking a better version of yourself. When you engage your body to help with memory, you're not just improving your recall, you're improving your confidence, your creativity, and your mental clarity. This method empowers you to stop overthinking and overcompensating by relying on the typical brain-only solutions. Instead, you tap into the holistic power of your entire being. It's like reclaiming your inner strength and showing up as the most efficient version of yourself. So here's the thing, your body has way more to offer than you think. You're not just a brain on two legs, you're a full system, and it's time to use every part of you to remember. Whether it's tapping your fingers, pacing while thinking, or even doing a little dance while you study, these physical movements can make your mind stronger, sharper, and more efficient. It's time to stop doubting yourself. The tools are already here, inside of you, just waiting to be unlocked. Your memory is just one move away, literally. Use your space, your body, and your brain together to master what's next. Number 6. Memory hacking with bad. Stress, use it or lose it. What if I told you that stress, yes, that thing we usually try to avoid at all costs, could actually be the key to unlocking your brain's full potential? I know you're probably thinking, what? Stress? That can't be right. But trust me, it's not as crazy as it sounds. Stick with me for a minute. We've all been there, sitting at your desk, deadline looming, and your heart's pounding in your chest. That anxiety, that pressure, it's overwhelming, right? But here's the thing, stress, when channeled properly, can actually work in your favor. So, let's flip the script on how we view stress and turn it into a tool that sharpens your memory instead of sabotaging it. Now, I know what you're thinking, but I've been told stress is bad for my health, so why should I embrace it? And that's true. Constant, unmanaged stress can wreak havoc on your body. But in small doses, stress can actually be a memory-boosting powerhouse. It's all about how you use it. When stress hits, your body releases cortisol, the stress hormone, which in turn increases your brain's focus and alertness. This sudden burst of energy actually primes your brain for learning. Think about it. When you're under pressure, you remember things faster, sharper, and more clearly. So why not use this bad stress to hack your memory? I'll tell you a little secret. A few weeks ago, I had a project deadline that completely snuck up on me. The pressure, intense. But here's where it gets interesting. Instead of freaking out, I decided to lean into the stress. I accepted that it was part of the process and used it to fuel my focus. Suddenly, I was devouring information and recalling it like a pro. The stress didn't drain me, it gave me a laser-sharp focus I wouldn't have had otherwise. And I'll admit, I was a little amazed at how well it worked. Stress was no longer my enemy, it was my secret weapon. Here's the thing, Stress doesn't need to be this looming cloud of doom. In fact, embracing small amounts of stress can help you push through mental blocks and train your brain to focus better. It's all about reframing the situation. The next time stress creeps in, instead of letting it freeze you up, let it activate your brain. It's like a mental workout, pushing you to use what you've got or risk losing it. And you're not about to let that happen, right? So, next time you're staring down a stressful moment, remember, it's all about how you use it. Don't shy away from it. Use that pressure to fuel your focus, boost your memory, and come out on top. Stress is just another tool. How you wield it is up to you. Thank you so much for watching. I truly hope you found these memory-boosting techniques helpful and that you're feeling more empowered to take control of your mind. If this video resonated with you, don't forget to hit that like button. Your support means the world. And if you're hungry for more content on topics like this, make sure to subscribe so you never miss an update. Share this video with anyone who could use a little extra brain power in their life, because trust me, we all need it. I'd also love to hear your thoughts, so drop a comment below and let me know what memory hacks have worked for you, or if you've got any experiences to share. Remember, your mind is a powerful tool, and the more you train it, the sharper it gets. Keep challenging yourself, and I'll see you in the next one. Keep thriving and take care.